All right, what are we doing this morning? Well, I'll tell you what we're doing. We're squirrel hunting now. You know, when you squirrel hunt, if you're a first-time squirrel hunter, you gotta go to what they're eating. Well, I'll tell you what they're eating, and I'm not very happy with them. They're eating my pears. They're almost ripe, and they're just coming up and cutting them off, taking them out. They see me, and they run like fire with a big old pear. You ought to see a little gray squirrel with a full-grown pear in its mouth running down the road, bumping and popping. Well, I'm taking no more. This is what they're cutting on. We may or may not get a squirrel this morning. I made a little noise out here, but I'm gonna set up and I'm gonna squirrel hunt right by my pear tree. And I hope I can pop a couple off because squirrels are delicious to eat. Now you may not believe that, but I'm telling you, they're really, really good. So a lot of people say, well, I can't cook. Well, let me tell you what, we're gonna do squirrel and dumplings. So easy, anybody can do it. We'll guarantee you want to go squirrel hunting so you can come back and cook this for your friends. It's so simple. It's not even easy. Well, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to get up here and set up behind the wood pile. If they get close, I got the shotgun. If they're from a distance, I'll pick them off with my 17 caliber. Shh. All right, it is squirrel season. It's also pear season. I've cleaned up all the pears around the tree, so they're gonna have to go up the tree to get a pear. And if they do, hopefully, my aim will be true enough where I can have some crockpot squirrel. All right, I'm getting hid, I'm getting set up. Somebody tipped them off. Somebody told them we were here. So you know what? We're gonna go to the woods. Squirrel hunting is the best way to get started in the woods. So all you kids out there who've never squirrel hunted might want to try it. I'm going to give you a few tips. Now, first of all, in the early season, like it is right now, your best weapon is your ears. There's a lot of leaves on, a whole lot of leaves on. Well, you can't see them as good, but they can't see as good either. If you hear one cutting, that means eating a nut. It's kind of like, that's them chewing on a nut. And you're hearing stuff dropping. That means stop and look up and just get hid and wait till you see that squirrel move. And probably this time of year, a shotgun is a good way to go. Now, 22 or 17 is a good way to pick one off and head shoot them and not damage the meat as much. I've got both today in case I get one setting. But here's something you got to remember. Your ears are your best weapon, but their ears are theirs as well. When they're in the tree, they're going to be listening. So you can't make a lot of noise. So as you go through the woods, be very careful where you step. If they hear a twig snap, a stick break, to them, it's like somebody blowing an alarm whistle. Now, as I look at the ground, here's a way to sneak through the woods. Look for an open spot. Step around leaves. Start with your heel and roll forward. Always pick a spot where there are no sticks to break. Quietly move along, then stop and listen for long periods of time. Now here's what you first-time squirrel hunters look for. That's called a cutting. And all these little parts and pieces are the bits they've eaten off of this hickory nut. So as they chew and chew, that's the noise you hear too when they're cutting it. They've been hitting this tree pretty hard. This time of year, there's a lot of spiders in the woods. I'm using my gun because I only have one arm. But cut you a big switch. You just walk along in front of you, keep those spider webs out of your face. And when you get to a tree and you know there's a squirrel in it and he's hid behind a branch and you're with a buddy, like Brian's on camera right now, if we get to a place where I know there's a squirrel in a tree, he'll go around behind the tree, he'll make noise, the squirrel will come on my side and I'll shoot him. That's the oldest trick in the book, but it works good. We got one for the crock pot. And it's mighty quiet out here today. And I only need really one. I'm just making lunch for me. If you're hungry now and you want to eat quick, oh my gosh, this is the best way to do it. My squirrel obviously is pretty tough and you got to cook it quite a bit. I put that squirrel in the crock pot last night at 10 o'clock. When I got up this morning, I took all the meat off the bones, set the bones aside, put a little bit of chicken broth in there and let it cook just a little bit more, a little bit of onion, seasoned it up. On the stove, I have some chicken broth, 100% chicken broth. You take your little biscuits right here and you just roll them out. Just some canned biscuits of any kind. The butter impregnated ones are really good, even though it's probably artificial butter and bad for you, just don't eat it very often. Now you cut these up any size you like them. Looks like a dumpling to me. There's only a couple steps here. When you're done with your dumplings, you take them and all you're doing is putting a little outside edge on that. You come back with every one of them, roll them up in there, and dust them up. A lot of pepper. You talk about easy. Now I'm talking anybody. Anybody can make this. You cannot mess this up. I got my water boiling. I'm gonna drop my dumplings in there. And it's not gonna take too long. Now they're gonna thicken up and swell up a little bit. Get all plump and yummy. Let that get to a boil. Now look at my dumplings. If you notice these are all nice and plumping up, I'm gonna take a little bit of my leftover flour. I'm gonna stir that in, let it thicken things up. Now I'm gonna come back with my squirrel that I picked the shot out of. I'm gonna dump that in. Now I've got my meat going. Let it come to a boil. I may add a little flour as I need it to thicken it up. Let that thicken up, let it get all comfortable together. In a minute, we're gonna chow. Now I think, as sportsmen, we have to understand that there are folks out there who don't understand the hunting and fishing lifestyle. They don't understand that we actually use this game that we kill. I think it's our responsibility to let them know that we do use this, and this is a great part of a meal. So all you youngins out there who want to have your first experience in the woods, get your mom, dad, uncle, somebody that hunts and fishes, to take you out there, use those little tips we showed you earlier, and make sure when you come back, you learn how to skin your animal. Guess what? You've provided dinner for your family. Scoop deep so I can get some of that meat out of there. I'm gonna take that over and I'm gonna munch. Now look at there. You take a look at that. Does that not look like just your good old regular chicken dumplings? And it was quick. When it looks like this, time to chow on lunch. You can try this for your friends. And I'll bet you money they'll like it. I'll bet you $100. Oh, by the way, I haven't forgot about you guys out there. So you tell your buddies if you don't want to end up in the bowl. Back off my pears.